trying to figure out what it has to repair.
Well, it apparently got it right, so I'm not going to touch this.
Good morning. I would like to call to order this meeting of the Fremont County Board of Commissioners. Thank you all for joining us this morning. I invite you to rise for an invocation by Grant Atkinson of the Cowboy Church, and please stay standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay. Let's bow together and honor our Creator. And Heavenly Father, I'm so grateful that our county has continued to keep an invocation to start their meetings and honor how you led our forefathers to put in God we trust, not only in our money, but on our hearts. And we do trust you, and I thank you for our leadership. I pray your blessing on them. I pray that you would give them your direction and your wisdom as they lead us as we go forth in our county and also for our city leadership. We give you praise and thanks for that. The blessing to live here, be part of this community, part of this area. We're very grateful in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bell.
Present.
Commissioner Payne.
Present.
Commissioner McFall.
Present.
County Clerk Barr. Present. County Attorney Jackson.
Present.
County Manager Bryant. Present. Planning and Zoning Director Koch.
Well, I'm here in place of Planning Director Koch.
We turn next to the approval of today's agenda. I am not aware of any changes that we need to make.
Madam Chair, make a motion that we approve today's agenda.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve today's agenda. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Payne.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Up next is our consent agenda. It's rather lengthy this morning. We have some agreements and different things here. I would like to note we are not scheduling a public hearing on today's consent agenda. We like to inform you of those as they come up. We have none on the agenda today.
That, Madam Chair, I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion and second on the floor to approve today's consent agenda. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Payne.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Up next is administrative and informational topics. We will begin with staff and elected officials. I believe our county clerk, Katie Barr, has a report for us this morning.
I do.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
My report is for the month of October. The total motor vehicle sales tax and recording fees collected for October was $1,252,832.69. Fremont County's portion for disbursement is $710,849.46, which is 57% of the total fees, and is $127,093.80 more than October of last year. Year to date, our office is up $693,658.42 from last year.
Which is a significant number.
It is.
I would like to again point out, unfortunately, Fremont County government does not keep all of that money. That gets dispersed far and wide between many different special districts here in Fremont County. So when we're looking good, I think most of the others are looking good as well. Gentlemen?
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we accept the county clerk's monthly report.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to accept the monthly report from our county clerk. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Payne.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Our county manager, Sunny Bryant, has a report for us today as well. Good morning, Sunny.
Good morning.
Morning.
So just a few items that we've been doing over the last couple weeks. On Thursday, November 2nd, Emma Davis, which is our public health director, and I met with some individuals from Rocky Mountain Behavioral Health. Thank you to Stacy Quiddick for setting up that meeting. And we're actually looking at some funding options for the new sobering center that we have. And so it looks like that may be a very viable option. So we'll be working with them to prepare a grant application and get it processed to hopefully secure that funding for the 2018 calendar year. And as far as an update on the sobering center goes, it's actually been open for 2 weekends now. And so the word is getting out that it's open and running. They did have an individual that used the Sobering Center this last weekend. So I do feel that this is going to be a wonderful resource in the community, and hopefully Pat Cox, he's the Sobering Care Manager, he can actually get out there and start helping people, and I think it'll be a big impact on helping individuals in the community. On Monday, November 6th, the commissioners and I met with Rob Brown from FEDC, and we're actually working with them to prepare an EPA grant application. And so that grant is due this Thursday, so we are cramming everything, trying to get it all pulled off. We actually had decided just a couple weeks ago to go for this grant, and it's quite a lengthy application. So I appreciate everything FEDC is doing to help us prepare that. We have contracted with a company called Stantec, and so they're the ones doing the bulk of the work. We're just getting all the information, and then they're compiling it for us. On Monday, November 6th, the commissioners, Brenda Jackson, and I actually met with a few individuals. So the first one was with a group with Lawson Enterprises. So he came in and actually looked at our airport fees and is making some recommendations on some improvements we can make to some of the lease agreements. And so we'll be moving forward with that. And then after that meeting, we met with individuals with CDOT. And so we were able to have our annual discussion with them and get an update on some of the projects that they have going on. And give them any feedback or concerns that we may have. So it was a very good meeting. And then on the 7th of November, I actually met with Judy Lonis with COG, who is a wonderful resource as far as looking at different grants that may be available. And so we're actually going to be getting a membership to a website to be able to go on and see what grants may be available for certain projects that we'll be working on. So I'll get that up and going. And last Wednesday, we actually, Don Moore, the county engineer, Eric Seebeck, our facilities director, Tony Adamic, the DOT director, Tommy Covington, the CSU extension agent, and myself met out at Pathfinder Park to see any improvements that we're looking at doing next year. I'm putting those into the budget for next year, and we're also looking at the long-term plan, so making sure that anything we're looking at doing out there fits into long-term goals of the park. And that's all that I have right now.
That's all?
That's it.
Are you sure?
Hey, we had a 3-week gap, so that's a lot of stuff.
We actually have probably another full page in a written report that she hasn't even mentioned. So Sunny does keep incredibly busy, and we thank her for all of her hard work. A couple of quick things I wanted to mention. I want to let you all know, if you're unaware so far, our next meeting is not being held on a Tuesday. It's going to be held Monday, November 27th. We moved it up a day, and the reason that we did that is all 3 county commissioners and some of our elected or our other staff are going to be at the county, Colorado Counties Incorporated annual fall conference next meeting date. So we moved the day up one. So same time, 9:30 a.m. the meeting will start, but that meeting will be on Monday the 27th. And I wanted to just back up a little bit what Sunny had talked about with our Sobering Center opening here. It is open now. It's been the result of a year of a lot of really hard work, mostly by people from St. Thomas More Hospital. They really came together, found a model for a sobering center that we think is going to work very, very well here in Fremont County. We are kind of a pilot project for all of Colorado. No one else is doing this exact same thing. But I found out, I was at another conference last Friday for the St. Thomas More Hospital Board and spoke with an individual from El Paso County. El Paso County actually is working closely right now with our local hospital because they're looking at perhaps doing the same model that we are using. So I was really proud of that. I think that our effort is going to be a model for a lot of other folks in Colorado, mostly because it is a very, very responsible, very reasonable model to use. So we're all very excited about that. Gentlemen, anything?
I just want to mention that I was looking at the projects that Sunny has on her report, and another one that was also on consent agenda was the approval of a Energy and Mineral Impact Assistance Program application for the Phantom Canyon Road Tunnel Rehabilitation Project. We have an issue up there on the first tunnel that we need to address, and so we are moving forward with this grant application for that first tunnel on Phantom Canyon to see if we can't get that taken care of. Just want to make a note of that.
I just want to say happy Thanksgiving to everybody. It's coming up in a week or so, so God bless all of you, and hope you get to spend time with your family and friends, and have a great one and a safe one.
Absolutely. Any other staff reports, elected official reports? All right, we'll move on. It is now time for citizens who might wish to address this board on a matter not scheduled on today's agenda. Do we have anyone? Please come up to the microphone, and if you would, fill out one of those slips of paper to turn in when you're done.
Okay. I am Dolly Gonzalez. I'm newly elected to the Canyon City City Council at large seat, and I just wanted to take an opportunity to introduce myself. Also, just let you all know that I'm here, and I'm very open to communication, and I'm excited for this adventure.
Congratulations.
So,
Thank you.
Congratulations, yes.
Thanks.
Congratulations.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
All right, anyone else? Come on up to the microphone, please. Introduce yourself. Make sure you fill out a slip of paper to turn in when you're done.
Good morning, County Commissioners.
Good morning.
Good morning.
See y'all. Just have a question. As you know, I run a skydiving operation at the airport, and I'd like to get my wife's name on the land lease, and I don't know if that goes to the county manager or it has to be approved by the board on that. My name's on it, but I'd like my wife on it also in case something
I would
happens.
imagine you probably need to talk to planning and zoning.
Haven't went there yet.
Airport
Haven't
land.
went-
I'm sorry. Okay,
We'll get with Mr. Baker and see
all right.
about getting it
Ma'am?
submitted.
Yeah.
If you want to submit the information, you can just send me an email if you want
Okay.
to, and we'll get the lease, do an amendment to the lease
Okay.
matter.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
All right. Anyone else this morning? Okay, seeing none, we will move on. We have no old business for consideration today. We'll move right into new business. Item number 1 is a proclamation for Adoption Day here in Fremont County on November 18th. We have with us this morning Carrie Porter from the Department of Human Services. I see some other folks here from DHS as well.
I did, yes. Good morning. Thank you guys
Good
for letting us
morning.
be here.
Good morning.
I did. I wanted you guys to meet Molly Willard is our adoption caseworker.
Good morning.
And Darby Baldwin is our adoption support specialist. Is
There
our
you go.
adoption support specialist.
Thank you.
Yes. So I'm actually going to let Darby read the proclamation this morning.
All right.
Good morning.
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 Good morning.
Whereas the County of Fremont recognizes the importance of giving children permanent, safe, and loving families through adoption, and whereas Colorado is recruiting for approximately 280 children and teenagers who are free for adoption, and whereas to help these children find permanent, nurturing families, the Fremont County Court will open their doors for National Adoption Day on November 18th, 2017, to finalize the adoption of local children and join other organizations to celebrate adoptions. And whereas this effort, along with similar celebrations in all 50 states, the District of Columbia and Puerto Rico, will offer children and the chance to live with stable and loving families and encourage other dedicated individuals to make a powerful difference in the life of a child through adoption. Now, therefore, we, the Fremont County Commissioners, by virtue of the authority vested in this board, do hereby proclaim November 18th, 2017 as Adoption Day in Fremont County, and in so doing, urge all citizens to join in a national effort to raise awareness about the importance of adoption.
Thank you, Darby. So do you know if Fremont County will actually be finalizing adoptions on Adoption Day this year? That's something that typically happens, so I'm curious to know what's happening this year.
Correct. We actually do not have any adoptions to actually finalize this year. However, we are doing a sort of a celebration for all the families who have adopted that currently live in Colorado. We've sent out invitations for families just to come and celebrate for an hour or so on Saturday.
And that will happen Saturday?
Yes.
Saturday morning. All right. Anything else that any of you would like to add?
I don't think so.
Just thank you so much for all the work that you do
Yeah,
on
thank
behalf
you.
of these kids all year long. This is a single day to recognize this work, but it's very important, and it happens continually, day in and day out. So I just want to let you know that we recognize that. We honor you for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Gentlemen?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the proclamation for Adoption Day of Fremont County, November 18th, 2017.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to proclaim Adoption Day here in Fremont County on November 18th, 2017. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner McFall,
Aye.
Commissioner Payne?
Aye.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We move next to a CUP 94-11 Shadow Hills Golf Club, a resolution to terminate the existing conditional use permit as per written request from an authorized representative. And for a brief report, we will turn to Marshall Butler this morning from our Planning and Zoning Department. Good morning, Marshall.
Good morning. We did contact the Shadow Hills Golf Club with regard to their annual update on their conditional use permit. And we received notification back from Beth Madone that says that it's no longer a golf course, no longer a restaurant, no longer a pool, no longer a pro shop. It hasn't been functioning that way for over a year, which would require us to pursue a termination anyway. But they're not operating, so they don't need a CUP anymore.
So they're voluntarily requesting that we terminate the CUP?
Yes.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Looks pretty straightforward.
All right.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we terminate the existing conditional use permit CUP 94-11 as per the written request from Shadow Hills for the Shadow Hills Golf Club.
Second it.
It has been moved and seconded to terminate the existing CUP 94-11.
And that'd be a resolution 33?
Resolution number 33.
Okay.
Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Payne?
Aye.
Commissioner McFall?
Aye.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, and the final item of business under new business is the adoption of social media use policy, social media user responsibility guidelines, and social media playbook. And for more information on this, we're going to turn to our county manager, Sunny Bryant.
So our IT director actually approached me quite a while back, and we have a few departments that already have social media pages. So we do feel it's necessary for us to put together policies just to make sure that the pages abide by those and that the users of the pages are also abiding by them. And so this is a formal policy that's been put together, and I appreciate all the work that Lisa Hall did on getting this prepared. It has been reviewed by the attorney and then circulated through the commissioners. We also have given it to each department that already has a social media site just to make sure that they didn't have any concerns on there. And so this policy will be established just so we all have guidelines in preparing that.
And it will take effect immediately if passed by this board?
Yes, and each person that has a site has 30 days to get their site up to speed according to the policy. But I actually, in looking at the sites, I don't think that anybody's really isn't following this. So I think that it'll be a smooth transition.
Agreed, and thank you so much, Lisa, for taking all the time and trouble that it took to put this together. I know we've been having conversations for a while, and we finally were able to get it all together. Gentlemen, questions, discussion?
No, I don't know if a lot of you probably have already, but there are some pages out there for the Sheriff's Department and Public Health Department, but there's some very good information on there to keep us up to date on what's going on around the county, and it's not fake news, so that's a good thing.
It is not fake news, that's correct.
So with that, I move to adopt the social media policy for the county.
And the social media user
Oh, and the social media
responsibility?
users' responsibility guidelines and social media playbook.
All right.
Well, we've got them all there.
All three. I'll second.
It has been moved and seconded to adopt these three separate documents for use by employees here in Fremont County. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner McFall?
Aye.
Commissioner Payne?
Aye.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Motion carries.
That does conclude our new business for the day. However, we have two public hearings that are scheduled to begin at 10 o'clock. That's 12 minutes from now, so this board will take a recess until that time.
You would just probably argue that they're not doing anything.
right, let's come back to order to complete business for this Board of County Commissioners meeting. First up is a public hearing scheduled for 10 a.m. I will open this public hearing. This is a requested name change from 4th Avenue, which is east of Highway 115 in Penrose, to be renamed to Park Place. The street is located to the east from Colorado State Highway 115 to the west line of Beaver Park Land and Water Company's Plat Number 4, which is just east of Illinois Avenue. I see with us we have a contingent from Penrose to address us. Tina Hefner, I believe, is our official representative. Tina, if you would come up and please just let us know what you're asking and why.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Tina Hefner. I live at 295 5th Street in Penrose, Colorado. I'm here on behalf of the Penrose Park and Recreation District along with the other property owners of 4th Avenue, and we would like to request a street name change of 4th Avenue to Park Place. The reasoning is that in Penrose, all of the streets, for the most part, are numbers or letters. And unfortunately, 4th Avenue, which is a fairly short street, is also on the other side of Highway 115, becomes 8th Street. And then we have 4th Street as well. So 4th Avenue and 4th Street are frequently confused. And of course, if you ask someone to come attend something at the Park District, it's very difficult to give them directions based on the fact that if they look to the left, they're going to see 8th Street, and that small sign 4th Avenue doesn't give them much clarity. So we are asking to change it to Park Place based on the fact that obviously the Park and Rec District is hoping to have a larger presence in the future and to invite more people from throughout Fremont County and beyond. And so that's why we are making this request.
Thank you, Tina. I have to say I do recognize the confusion. I grew up on 4th Street.
Oh.
So I remember the 4th Street, 4th Avenue, and a lot of confusion happening. So it's been going on for years. So, all right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We will turn next to Marshall Butler again from Planning and Zoning for a brief report on the topic.
Okay. All the property owners fronting on 4th Avenue were notified of the proposed name change. Certified mail to all the property owners and agencies that might have a concern. A publication in the Daily Record was completed. Signs noting the public hearing were posted at both ends of the street. The Fremont County Department of Transportation has stated they have no issues with it. And we haven't heard back from anyone regarding the name change proposal, that people that were notified or through the publication. And it's proposed that the name and address change would take place on January 1st.
All right. Any questions for Marshall? We do have Tony Adamic, our Director of the Department of Transportation, with us this morning. Tony, was there anything you would like to say?
No, we're okay with it. We just got to change signs, and then our GIS needs to be changed with AGTF also.
All right. Okay, so no problems or concerns there. All right, this is a public hearing, so I will ask if any other members of the audience would like to get up and address this name change. Okay, seeing none, we will close this public hearing. Gentlemen, your wishes?
Madam Chair, and then in conversation with Tony, he said signs have to be changed, be 8 signs. Is that correct, Tony? So it's not, like a huge deal for us on that. And so with that, Madam Chair, I make a motion that we approve the name change of 4th Avenue east of Highway 115 in Penrose to be renamed to Park Place.
Second that.
So we could go to Penrose and play Monopoly with Park Place.
That's the expensive one.
You'll be interested to know that if we get the fishing pond developed, we will have the wooden walkway across it, and we can call that boardwalk.
Oh, see, there you go.
Boardwalk and Park.
Boardwalk and Park Place.
Yes.
All right. We do have a motion and a second on the floor to rename 4th Avenue east of Highway 115 in Penrose to Park Place. Further discussion? Resolution will be number 34.
Okay.
Resolution 34. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Payne?
Aye.
Commissioner McFall?
Aye.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right.
Thank
Park
you
Place
very
it
much.
is.
All right.
Thank you. All Our next public hearing is the proposed 2018 Fremont County budget. And with this, we're going to ask Sunny Bryant, our county manager, for a brief presentation. Let me open this public hearing. All right, Sunny, it's all yours.
Do I have to do a brief presentation?
Well, no,
because
you
I
can
have
take
about
as much time
73
as you would
slides
like.
to go through.
Just 73? You cut it
That's
down
it.
from last year.
Okay, so it's hard to believe that we are at the point in November in which we are looking at our 2018 budget, but here we are. So, some of the budget strategies this year, and they're similar as they were in the past. We are wanting to preserve the services for the citizens, to provide a fiscally responsible county budget, to preserve the county assets, to maintain fund balances in the various funds, and also while addressing increased requests for the 2018 budget. So we have lots of things that we're trying to accomplish in this process. Some of the significant issues that we're looking at for 2018 is we did get, this year was a new assessment year for property taxes, but it was also the year that the Gallagher Amendment required that the residential rate be looked at again. So the residential rate went down, even though most of the values on people's property went up, which the net of that increased to a 0.43% increase in the assessed value for 2016. And that equates to what 15,822 increase in general fund, 1,597 in road and bridge, 5,074 in DHS, and $603 increase in the airport. We are projecting the retail sales tax to increase by 2.5% from 2017. We are projecting the auto use tax to increase by 3.5% and the construction use tax to increase by 2%. Some other issues that we're looking at, we are proposing a 50-cent per hour raise for the employees. So the county had adopted a salary schedule back in 2013, which established set rates, but the county overall has not given any type of raise to all employees since 2009. And so this is giving all employees a 50-cent per hour raise. We are trying to continue to reduce the PILT funding transferred into the general fund. So the PILT is the payment in lieu of tax funds we receive from the federal government each year. And that can be a difficult thing each year because it seems like we're waiting until the last second to make sure that they're actually going to authorize PILT funding. So in the past, the general fund actually received the entire PILT funds, and we have slowly decreased that amount to where this proposed has PILT funding general fund by $625,000, which is down from about $1.1 million a few years ago. So we're really trying to get rid of that. And we're also trying to use those PILT funds for projects. So we have a lot of that going to DOT. We're looking at putting some away for bridge replacements, and we're looking at putting some away for building improvements, like doing a re-roof project here in the next year or so. And then we're also, one of the issues, we're monitoring the self-funded insurance fund balance. So we have seen an increase in claims for self-funded, so we want to make sure that that fund is sustainable. We're looking at building improvement needs in various county-owned buildings and trying to address those this next year, while we're also trying to keep up with the increased operational costs, because as with most of us, the electricity is going up, the gas is going up, supplies are going up, so we're trying to manage all of this. So the specific ownership tax. So when the school district RE1 passed, when the citizens passed the mill levy increase, there were 2 questions on the ballot, and then Tallahassee Fire, there was a mill levy question on that. So all 3 of those questions passed. And just to give you a quick overview, the specific ownership is part of the motor vehicle registration fee. But the way that that is actually distributed is it's according to the mill levy property taxes that are collected. And so it's based on the proportion of property taxes levied within the county during the preceding calendar year. So what that means is that by those entities, by their ballot issues passing, it actually means that the rest of us that collect specific ownership tax, our taxes are actually going to decrease for next year. So what we're looking at for us is that the estimated decrease there's actually, like I said, 2 bond issues at the school district and 1 for Tallahassee Fire. So the school district bond issues, one of them was the BEST grant. So they have applied for the grant. That bond would be matching funds. So if that grant doesn't come through, then that mill levy issue, I don't believe that would be effective. So based on the 1 mill levy issue and the Tallahassee Fire, it's a 7% decrease is what we're estimated to see next year for a specific ownership tax. If the other issue does go through, that will increase a little bit. And so we have addressed that in this recommended budget. We've looked at all of those things and decreased our PILT funding for the next year. I did notify Department of Human Services, and they'll be looking at that for their proposed budget as well. So like I said, we've made those changes here. So
that's actually a really big deal. I'm on the fire district board, and we actually talked about this last night too, that it's going to affect the fire district, all entities.
Right.
And this could be significant. Yeah.
And that's just something that, we all have to pay attention to, because I know back when both school districts ballot issues passed back in 2003-04, that actually, some of us weren't actually looking at that, and it was a huge impact on the county. So, hopefully we'll stay ahead of the game here and make sure that we do things accordingly to where we're actually anticipating this instead of being reactive when the funds don't come in. So looking at the general fund total revenues for 2012 to 2018, as you can see, back in 2012, we were at $11.6 million. Then we went down for quite a few years. So in 2017 estimate is the first time that we've actually are projecting an increase from where we were back in 2012. So we've really been trying to maintain and do what we can, but when everything around us is increasing, it's been pretty difficult to pull it all together. But I will commend this board and the prior board for making it all happen, and I appreciate everything the department heads and elected officials have done to help us out with this. So for next year, we're budgeting $11,583,584 as our revenue. So looking at some specific items as far as where the revenues are coming from, the property taxes for next year based on our mill levy is $5,410,034. And you can see the trend on that. The retail sales tax, we've been pretty fortunate here in that it has seen a very slow and steady increase. So going back to 2011, it was at 3.6 and it slowly increased. Next year we're budgeting 4.7. And this gets split between the general fund and the sales and use tax fund. So it doesn't all go into general fund there. And then auto use tax collections, you can see the trend that has seen. And construction use tax, we saw a little dip in 2013, and it's kind of been up and down and slowly increased since then. And so going into a summary of the funds. So this breaks out every fund that the county has and the estimated beginning balance that we're looking at starting the year next year. It has the 2018 estimated revenues, which gives us our total available balance, the 2018 estimated expenditures, and then the estimated ending balance. I'll try to move this out of the way here so you can see that. And so as you can see, there's a few funds that are looking at dipping into fund balance. We're being very careful over the next few years to make sure that we're looking at projects associated with those dips to continue to make sure everything is sustainable. And so this is actually, it will be posted on the website. So if you want to go back and actually look at these numbers a little closer, it'll all be available there along with the proposed budget in total. So breaking out the revenues by category. So property taxes, we get, we're estimating 5.4 million. Sales and use tax are just over 10 million, and then going down the list. So our total estimated revenues for next year is 42,653,000, And then in order to balance the budget, we're estimating to spend $1,770,000 in fund balance. So breaking that out so you can see it a little bit better, this shows you that 28%, which makes the largest revenue we have, is from intergovernmental revenues. So that actually, the majority of that goes into Department of Human Services. So it's either federal funds that are passed through the state or state funds that come through grants and different programs that they have. Then the Highway User Tax Fund that we receive is also part of that. So those are what make up the bulk of the intergovernmental revenues. And then sales and use tax is our second highest. And this just breaks out going down from there. And on the expense side, so this just breaks out by department. And so we're estimating $5,079,000 in interfund transfers next year. So looking at it from a graph standpoint, the general fund is 27% of total expenses. The sheriff fund is 23%. Department of Human Services is 20, DOT is 10, and then they break down from that. So just a quick overview. So the overall budgeted expenses, including interfund transfers, are $44,424,000. The general fund is $11,947,000. Sheriff fund is $10,276,000. Department of Transportation is 4.4, and the Department of Human Services is 8.7. And so our next steps, the budget will be presented to the board for adoption. We are going to be, in our next meeting, we'll schedule a special meeting for December 19th. And at that time, we will certify the mill levy and adopt the budget. So the budget can be found on the county website on the fremontco.com. It's actually on the home page there. Like I said, I will update the PowerPoint or upload the PowerPoint as well. There is a paper copy that's available in the administration office in room 106 if you would like to stop in and review it. And that is the presentation.
So my first question, Sunny, is what happened to the other 60 pages? You seem to be missing a few.
I figure I'll spare you, but if you want to stay after the meeting, I'll start those.
So I just have a couple of comments that I would like to make, and then I'll turn to my fellow board members. A lot of work goes into this budget. Every department head, every elected official works and works and works for months on end. I think you start the process either in August or maybe even earlier than that.
We've already started next year. No.
You probably already have. But having said that, budgeting really is a year-round thing, and so Sunny also acts as the county's finance officer. So she deals with budgets every single day, and she keeps it up to date, figuring out what we really are looking at towards the end of the year, comparing what we believe we will receive versus what we had budgeted for the previous year. So it is an ongoing project, and it's not a very easy one. And so I just officially would like to say thank you, not only to Sunny and your staff in administration and finance, but also to all of those elected officials and other department heads who work so hard to make this budget come through every single year. So thank you all for that. I also would like to briefly speak about the 50-cent an hour raise that we're looking at trying to give each of our employees. The reason that Sunny started this conversation, and really it's up to her, and it's thanks to her that this probably is going to happen this year, is because we started realizing that a couple of years ago, Colorado as a whole decided over the next 4 or 5 years to start raising the minimum wage. And right now, we have folks in the county who are making less than what the minimum wage is going to be by 2020. So we meaning Sunny, realize that if we don't take some interim steps to raise some of those salaries, suddenly in 2020, we're going to have to take a huge leap, and we're not going to be able to afford to do that. It's going to be much more difficult. So that was the reason that we started into this conversation to begin with, and it was her proposal, and we think it was a good one, to look at doing an actual per hour raise for every employee that we have, instead of doing a percentage, because we kind of felt like the percentage route would give the people who already make quite a bit of money, it's just going to give them even more, while those lower salaried people that we're looking at trying to increase, they're going to have much, much smaller increases. So we didn't think that a percentage rate was fair. We didn't think a percentage rate was going to do what we were really looking for it to do. So just in case you're wondering, that those really were the reasons that kind of spurred this 50 cents an hour raise for folks. And I would like to clarify that does not apply to elected officials. So in case you're wondering, it's employees, not electeds. So those were the comments that I had. Gentlemen?
One of the things I just wanted to bring up that we had here was the lodging tax. That's been quite a bit of discussion lately. Obviously, the city's proposal failed on the ballot, and it's been bandied about that there's around 180 to 200,000 a year that the county receives in taxes on that. But as you can see, for the available is 334,733 because there's $95,000 in grants that's going to be received in 2018 that's been awarded. And so that hasn't been discussed as far as what would happen to those grants. So I just want to let you know why there's that kind of fund balance in there. Does that make sense, Sonny? Okay, well, it makes sense to us. I hope it makes sense to everybody else.
I know what you're trying to say.
In the PILT, that's payment in lieu of taxes. For those that didn't know, the federal government gives us for all the federal land that's in Fremont County, we get payment in lieu of property taxes for that. That's what the PILT means. Okay.
That's it, huh?
Well,
I just
could go
kind
on,
of,
but-
I just kind of want to echo what Debbie said and thank the other elected officials and the department heads, because it is tough for them to sit down and make all of this work within their budget, but still be able to improve what we have going on in the county. So, big thank you to all of them for putting the work into this, and Sonny as well. Thank you.
All right, this is a public hearing. I would ask at this time if we have any members of our audience who would like to address this board concerning the 2018 proposed budget. Come on up. A familiar face. Good morning, Tina.
Good morning. Do I need to introduce myself
Yes,
again?
please.
Okay, my name is Tina Hefner. I live at 295 5th Street in Penrose, Colorado. I would like to say on behalf of the Penrose Park and Rec District, thank you very much for your financial consideration for us in your 2018 budget. We appreciate it tremendously, and we appreciate everything that you're doing. I know, I can't even imagine how hard it is to do a budget of this size. So congratulations, thank you, and again, thank you on behalf of our organization.
Thank you so much for that, Tina. Anyone else? All right, seeing none, we will close this public hearing. Anything further from the board?
Just to clarify what Tina said there is we gave Penrose Parks some cash to help them out, but that came out of our conservation trust funds, which is basically our lottery funds. Yes, yeah.
It's okay. Yes.
I always like to let people know kind of where we're pulling money out of to help out and what we're doing with it, and yeah.
I guess a little clarification on your clarification. It's in the proposed.
I'll take a shot at it here.
It's in the proposed budget to
It's
budget,
in the
but-
proposed budget.
Yeah, so-
Yeah, the check has not been written. No. Yeah, it's all in consideration, yes. Thanks for the clarification on the
Clarification.
You want to clarify that anymore?
I think we're good. I'll be
Okay.
done. All right. Anything else? All right, we have no action to take on this agenda item today. So with the completion of this, I will call this meeting closed and complete. Thank you for being here.
Need a clarification on that?
Let's clarify. What did she need? I almost did. I actually wrote a note and then I was like, no, scratch it out. I'm not going to do that.
Wade Rodhead talked to me yesterday about the annexation they want to do in Falls. And it's going to like 500 feet. No, that comes through, the sheriff's department. Yeah, he actually, it's actually
Hi.
Yeah, it's even. There's 2 hours.